I'm Quinn, and this is Open Awareness Yoga, and it's Tuesday Yoga Live. So you need a bunch of props for today, as per usual. You need your yoga blanket or bath towel, and we will be making the roll with it. So I'll walk you through that in a second. You need yoga blocks, 2 of them, or 2 sturdy hardback books, and a chair or furniture, especially if you're really tight on the backs of your thighs. You'll definitely want a chair or furniture. It can be whatever's nearby. It doesn't have to be fancy. This is a yoga chair. You can tell because it's backless. And I didn't tell you in the post, but you might want a strap. You can use your towel for your strap as well. And you don't need to have it, but I forgot to include it. So we're gonna get started on your back in Shavasana. So go ahead and lay down on your back, on your mat, with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. And if you're more comfortable with the legs straight and long, you can lengthen the legs out long as well. And place one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. And if possible, breathe through your nose and settle into the earth. And try to begin practice with a few moments of just relaxation as a way of shifting gears from whatever we've been doing, whatever the day has held so far, into our yoga practice. Just notice your hands as they move with your breath. Maybe you notice one of your hands moves more than the other, which points out to you whether your belly or your chest moves more with your breath. And scan your body from head to toe, noticing what you notice about how it feels to be you today. Because truly, if we don't check in with how it feels to be you on a regular basis, you might not notice or know. Now, shake the legs a little. Pull your right knee into your chest. And if this feels difficult in your body, you can bend your left knee, placing the foot on the floor if it isn't already. Or you can straighten that leg. And just let the left leg fall. Pull the right knee in. And breathe in and out. And let's hold the right knee with the right hand. Bring the left hand to the left top hip. And then open the right knee to the right. Knee stays bent. So you're just opening across the fronts of your hips, getting into the groin. Breathe. Try to keep that left side hip and buttocks grounded down. Soften your low belly. As you inhale, bring your right knee back to the center. Release the right foot to the floor and pull your left knee into your chest. Leave the right knee bent or lengthen the leg long. Just let it flop. Pulling your left leg in, breathe. And left knee and left hand, right hand on the top of the right hip. Open your left knee to the left. And breathe deep. Keep the right side hip grounded. Let this feel good. And let your body adjust and move in any way that you want, because you're here for you. And pull the left knee back into the chest. Draw the right knee in to meet it. Hug both legs in. And then place the left foot on the ground. And here's where you use that strap, or you can take your blanket and loop it around the foot, lengthening the leg up into the air. Another option, if your props aren't working for you, you can interlace your fingers behind the back of the thigh, these hamstrings, which will be working today. And if you're feeling tight and ropey, then go ahead and bend and straighten your right leg a few times. And if and when it feels right, you can leave that right leg straight. And to deepen the stretch, you might straighten the left leg long. This time, pull your toes in towards your face and reach out with both heels. So your right heel is reaching up to the sky, but can you simultaneously draw the right sitting bone down towards the ground and try to straighten through the back of the right knee. Spread the back of the knee, spread the hamstrings from right to left so you widen the back of the leg. And as long as you can keep your right leg straight, you might pull it a little closer in towards the chest. But if it's bent, explore in your own body how far you have to lower your heel towards the ground to get the leg straight. I'm giving you some ideas of the mobility in the backs of your legs. Just getting to know yourself a little better. Remember, yourself changes constantly, every breath you take. Let's bend that right knee. Place the right foot on the floor, and then change sides. So whether you're using a strap, a blanket, or your fingers, straighten your left leg up to start, and maybe a few times bending and straightening. If you haven't warmed up today or been very active, it might be best for the muscles just to ease into the opening. And if and when you feel like you'd like to stay static, leave the left leg straight, and maybe straighten the right leg out. Now reach out with both heels, focusing on that left heel reaching up, left sitting bone drawing down towards the earth, and you start to open the hamstring from its attachment, more or less in the buttocks. Breathe. Feel the backs of your knees spreading, the hamstrings spreading. And if you haven't experimented already, if your left leg isn't straight, lower the heel down as far as it needs to go to get it straight. Really straighten the back of the knee. As long as it's straight, keep it that way, and maybe you pull it a half an inch closer towards your chest, or maybe not at all. No use in taking somebody you imagine is yours to a place that is beyond where is beneficial for you to go. You got to start from where you are and work from there. That's how we get progress. Release the left leg, pull both of the knees into the chest. Roll to one side and sit up. So here we'll take that blanket and make it into a roll. So it can just be in one fold like this. Start from either side and roll it up tight. We've done this before, maybe a month ago. You'll lay it across the mat, and we're going to lay down over it so that it's in the soft tissue of the belly. So between the ribs and the front hip points, kind of where your waist is. So ideally it's not pressing into any bones, but it really is moving into the center of your belly. And if you just ate, you might want to skip this one. Oh, and lay down, one cheek to the ground, or if that's uncomfortable on your neck, stack your palms, place your forehead down on your palms. But wherever you are, see if you can relax completely and allow the imprint of the blanket roll to enter your body. Can you feel the blanket roll on the anterior side of your spine? That is the front side of your spine. You might think about the spine is on the back of your body, but our bones are three-dimensional. There's front, sides, and back. And they're, to me, much, much bigger than I imagined. If one of your cheeks is on the floor, turn the other cheek down so that we can even out through the neck. And continue to release and soften. This will help open up the low back. Buttocks, flesh is falling towards the backs of the thighs. A few more breaths here. Now bring the hands underneath the shoulders, turn the nose down towards the ground, and press yourself up into tabletop on hands and knees. You need extra padding underneath your knees, use your blanket for that. Make sure your blocks or your books are nearby. We'll use them in a moment. So here, spread your fingers wide. Make the creases of your wrists parallel to the front sides of your mat. And if you're not using a mat, it's sort of like pointing the index fingers straight forward. Everybody's body is a little different though, but that's a good rule of thumb. Knees underneath the hips, tops of the feet pressing down to the earth. Press down into your hands to straighten the arms and draw the top of your sternum forward. Feel the back muscles engage. Hug the low belly up and in towards the spine in a similar way the blanket was helping us do. And then with the left knee remaining bent, slide the left knee up to hip height. Flex through the ankle so the toes point behind you and level your hips. So notice if that left hip hiked up, drop it down even with the right. Hug the outer right hip in towards the midline. Now this is an action, not so much a movement. Okay, so you're not going to move in space really at all. Pull the back of your knee towards your sitting bone, the sitting bone towards the back of the knee. You're not moving, but you're engaging the hamstrings. I'll say this again. Pull the back of the knee towards the sitting bone towards the back of the knee. Now keep that engagement. Press your foot up into the air to lift your knee higher up into the sky. Keep the back of the knee drawing towards the sitting bone towards the back of the knee. And now reaching from the left heel, slowly straighten that left leg behind you. And then bring the knee underneath you. Sit back in a child's pose. The way I wrote that pose down in my notes was hamstring cramp pose. So we're not necessarily going for a cramp, but we're going for engagement in that hamstring, and you might feel it. All right, come back into tabletop. We've got a second side. So first, set your hands, palms spread wide, press down into the hands to feel the upper back muscles engage. Hug the low belly, engage the abdominal core, and then lift the left knee up to hip height, or the right knee, excuse me. Right knee stays bent, flex the foot so the sole of the foot is towards the sky. Now, hug the outer left hip in towards the midline and level your hips so that they're even distance from the floor. Back of the right knee draws towards the right sitting bone. Right sitting bone draws towards the back of the knee to squeeze and engage the right hamstring. Keep that engagement. Lift the right knee up higher into the sky. Press the foot up into the air. Keep the engagement. Reach back with your right heel to slowly straighten the right leg behind you. And then release the right knee down underneath you. Sit back in a child's pose. Just a couple breaths. On an inhale breath, come back up into your hands and knees. Exhale to step your right foot forward between the hands. Do what you need to get it there. Here, grab your blocks or your books on their highest height and press down into the ground to lift your chest off of that front leg. Inhale into your low lunge. And as you exhale, you'll begin to shift your hips back. Walk the books back so that they're under the shoulders and move towards a straight right leg. It might not go straight, depends on your hamstrings. If you feel any popping sensations, back out Be in a place where you can breathe, where it's not terribly painful. Pull the toes back towards the face. And we'll crawl back forward into a lunge. So walk the books forward, plant your right foot on the floor, and drop your hips down and forward as you lift your heart. Inhale. Exhale. Crawl it back. Straighten the right leg. Hips scoop behind you. Toes pull up towards your face. Inhale here. Exhale here. Inhale, come back into your low lunge. One full breath cycle, in and out. And an inhale to prepare. And exhale, shift it back. This is half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. We are not working splits today. We're just not going to do that. And here we'll stay. So really press the books down into the ground. Use the support of your hands. Tune into the sides of your waist. Can you lift the sides of your waist out of your hips? So it's like you're ejecting your torso out of the legs. Now notice your right heel on the ground and the location of your second toe. That's the one next to your big toe. Line up the second toe with the middle of your kneecap. And then feel that your right sitting bone is lined up with those. So one straight line from the second toe past the mid-knee to the sitting bone. And release. Press the right foot down, bend the knee, crawl forward, lift the heart. Set the books aside. Place your hands flat on the floor, framing the right foot, and then step back, hands and knees. Second side, inhale to prepare. Exhale, step the left foot forward between the hands. Grab the books, press them down into the floor, and lift your heart and chest off of your leg. Enjoy this low lunge, breathing in and out. And you know where we're going next. On an exhale breath, begin to shift your hips back. Straighten the left leg as much as you can. It might not go all the way, and that's fine. You want to be at your edge, not beyond it. Now pull the toes back towards the face. Inhale. And exhale, crawl back forward into your lunge, dropping the hips down and forward and lifting the heart. If you practiced with me last week, by all means, do the upper back stuff that we worked on. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, shift those hips back. Pull the toes towards the face. Last time, forward and back. Bring yourself into your lunge. Use an inhale breath to draw the chest forward and up. And then on your next exhale, crawl it back. Half splits. Ardha means half. Hanumanasana. Hanuman is the monkey god. It's named after him. All right, so here we line up the leg. Center of the left heel on the ground. Second toe stacked right above the center of the heel. Now, from the second toe, trace a line straight up to the middle of your knee. Adjust your leg so that the middle of the knee is in line with the second toe. Now, underneath the hip, we line up the sitting bone on that same straight line. So for some people, it might be sticking out. Tuck it under. And slowly come back into your lunge. Step the books off to the side. Hands and knees. Crawl the hands forward about a foot. Curl the toes under, plank pose. And exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale to bend your right knee. Let your left leg straighten and left hip lift into the air. On your next inhale, breath, switch sides. Inhaling through center, exhaling to bend your left knee. Right hip sticks up into the air. Straighten that right leg. Inhale through center, exhale, bend your right knee. Inhale through center, exhale, bend your left knee. Last time with your breath, right and then left. And then come to center. Walk your feet apart as wide as the mat. Bend the knees. And then lift and spread your sitting bones. Now from here, keep the sitting bones where you are. Imagine something's holding your hips in space. Without letting the back round and the hips drop, straighten your legs any amount. They might not go all the way. That's okay. Breathe into the backs of the thighs. And then bend the knees. Walk the feet forward to the hands. Fold down just for a moment. Find your books. Place them underneath your shoulders and inhale, come up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Now see if you can straighten your legs here, and if you can't, this is the first step where you might want to use your furniture or your chair. Coming up halfway, get those legs straight. And notice my chair has different heights, so there's the back of the chair. I could come up even higher until I get my legs straight, but that's what we're going for. Give yourself the support that you need. We'll be back using the furniture later in the game, so get acquainted with it here. All right, we're come to standing. So if you have your books, set them down. Press down into your feet and inhale, come up to stand. Surya Namaskar A to warm up and move the body. Inhale, lift the arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. You might stop at your chair. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, plank pose. Clear your furniture, step it back. Inhale into your plank. Knees up or knees down. Shoulders stay rolling away from the floor. Exhale, breath brings you all the way down to the belly. Point back through your feet. Inhale, lift your heart. Baby cobra pose. Spread your collarbones. Exhale, press through hands and knees and find downward facing dog. Knees bent. Lift and spread your sitting bones. Keep them high in the sky. Straighten your legs any amount. Inhale here. Exhale, walk your feet forward to the hands, fold down. Inhale, come up halfway. Use what you need to straighten your legs. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, come all the way to standing. Arms reach overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Again, inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, plank pose. Inhale in your plank. Use your knees or don't. Exhale, lower all the way down to the ground. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bend your knees. Lift and spread your sitting bones. Leave them high. Straighten the legs any amount. Inhale. Exhale, walk your feet forward to the hands. Inhale, come up halfway. Find your straight legs. Exhale, fold it back down. Leave the legs straight. Inhale, come all the way up to standing, arms overhead. Exhale, release your hands to your heart. One more time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, up halfway. Exhale, plank. Inhale, stay. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, lift and spread sitting bones. Keep the hips high, straighten the legs. Inhale. Exhale, walk your feet forward to your hands. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold it back down. Inhale, come all the way up to standing, arms overhead. Exhale, release your hands to your heart and stay. Maybe close your eyes and check back in with yourself. Notice the beating of the heart beneath your thumbs. Notice your breath as it quickens. And you smooth out your experience any amount by smoothing out the breath. One deep breath into the heart. Exhale, release your hands down by the sides and open your eyes. Take a quarter turn to stand facing the long side of your mat. Grab your books. You'll only need one. So grab one book, excuse me. And step the legs apart wide. From deep within the right hip socket, turn the right leg out. Leave your left heel planted. Angle the left toes in. Arms come out to a T. Again, inhale and lift the waist out of the hips. Eject the torso from the hips, but soften the shoulders. Now begin to bump your hips back towards the left, reaching your fingertips forward, forward, forward. Reach this right side waist, forward, forward, forward. And now bring the book down to the ground on the back side of your right leg, left hand on the hip. Look down at your right leg. Middle of the heel, line it up with the second toe. Line up the middle of the knee with the second toe. And here's the part that might be tough for some people. You can bend the left leg, line up the right sitting bone with the second toe, middle knee line. Once you get that, maybe start to straighten that back leg, but let the left hip roll down towards the ground to keep the right leg in line the way you've set it. Now don't let that left knee fall in or out. Keep it where you put it. Open the chest towards the left. Lift the left arm up into the sky. Utthita Trikonasana triangle pose. One more breath in. One more breath out. As you inhale, reach up with your left hand to come to standing. Parallel your feet and place the book in your other hand. Now from deep within this left hip socket, turn the left leg out. Leave the right heel where it is, angle the right toes in. Inhale, arms out to a T. Lift the side waist out of the hips, soften the shoulders. As you inhale, bump your hips back to the right, reach your fingertips forward, forward, forward. Reach from the lower side waist, lengthen that left side waist, and then release your left hand to the ground, right hand to the hip. Now this book might be quite low, and like you used the furniture earlier, if it's in a convenient place, you might place your hands on the seat of the couch or on your armchair. Now here, look down at that left leg. Center of the left heel. Line it up with the second toe. Now line up the middle of the knee with the second toe and scoot that left sitting bone underneath you to get it on that same straight line. If you need to drop the right hip towards the ground to help you do that, do so. Now keep that leg where you put it. As you inhale, open the chest to the right. Right hand up into the sky. Utthita, extended, Trikonasana. Tree, triangle, right? It's a cognate. Kona is angle. Trikonasana. Now press down into your feet, reach up with your right hand, and on an inhale, come up to standing. Grab both of your books. If you're quite tight in your hamstrings, instead of books, you're going to use your furniture. So stand right in front of your furniture, and you'll use this instead of coming down to your books. Otherwise, feet spread apart, toes angled slightly in. Bring yourself down to your support. If you're using books, they're directly underneath your shoulders to start. Regardless of what you're using, draw the hips forward so that they're between your heels. A lot of times we stick the butt back behind the heels like this. So we have to bring them forward. You'll feel more weight land in your toes. Draw the inner thighs away from one another. Press the outer feet and the big toe mound down into the ground. Now, if you're using your chair, you might fold forward by bringing your forearms onto your chair and your forehead down to your forearms. Try to keep the legs straight. If you can, get rid of the books, bring your hands down to the floor, and then crawl your hands between the heels. Heels of the hands lined up with the heels of the feet, fingers pointing forward. Go as far as you can while leaving your legs straight. So stay up on that chair if you need to. Let the head hang. Everybody lift your shoulders away from the ears so we're not slumping into that upper back. And then find the waist. And like we've been doing, reach the waist away from the hips. Eject the waist from the hips. And that might allow you to come down a little bit further. A few more breaths here. Come to the halfway point. Hands forward, straighten the arms, spine is long. Bring the hands to the hips, pull the elbows together behind you, and inhale, come up to standing. Nice, so now, if you're using the chair, you keep using the chair. That's what you need today. We'll find that blanket roll, and now we place it right at the front hip point. So where the leg creases, when you lift your leg, you put the blanket right there. Feet or hips width distance apart or a little wider if you're tight, and either folding to your chair, to your books, or to the floor. Fold down over that blanket. Eventually you'll be able to let it go because it will be stuck between your legs and your belly. And so the purpose of this blanket here is to help you widen and broaden the low part of the back. So even as we're reaching the sitting bones up into the air, we're also relaxing the lower back to let the spine come forward. Breathe into your belly, feel the belly pressing into the blanket, and allow that to help you soften the belly. There's no engagement of the belly, no sucking it or pressing it, but a releasing of it, which you might notice helps you release further into this shape. Right, bring one of your hands to the blanket, bend your knees, and slowly come up to standing. Get rid of that blanket. We'll come back into the wide leg forward fold. So step those feet wide, angle the toes slightly in. Use what you got. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Fingertips down to the furniture, ground, or books. One breath in here. And now as you exhale, fold all the way down into your shape. This is Prasarita Padottanasana. Remember the way the blanket felt in your belly. Can you soften your belly, release your low back. Keep both legs straight, inner thighs reaching away from one another. Sitting bones lift and spread. Releasing the belly, low back round. Breathe. Come back to the halfway point. Inhale to lift the spine. Hands to the hips, elbows together behind you. Inhale, come to standing. Nice. Step your feet together or hips width distance apart. Hands on the hips. Inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, chair pose. We don't do this one often. My secret is because I really don't like this pose and I have to talk the whole time I do it. So consider yourself lucky. So we sink the hips down, and here, bring your shins back so that more of your weight is in your heels. We're working on engaging those quadricep muscles, and again, middle of the knees in line with the second toe. Sitting bones don't really have much of a choice here because your legs are doing the same thing. It's a symmetrical pose. So here, inhale and bring the arms overhead. You might be like, no, I hate that. But if you reach your arms up and eject your waist from your hips, you'll feel lighter in the legs. From the arms overhead, inhale, lift up. Knees still bent. Exhale, twist to your right. Look down at your knees. Notice if one is shot forward of the other. Level the knees. Inhale, come back to center, arms overhead. Exhale, twist to the left. Same thing. Check your knees. Shift your shins back. Breathe. Inhale, come forward, both arms overhead, and exhale, fold it forward. Now find your furniture or your props, straighten your legs. Now take a look at your knees. Engage your quadricep muscles to lift the kneecaps. You'll actually see them lifting up the legs towards the hips. Keep those quads engaged and spread the backs of your hamstrings. All right, bend your knees and slowly come up to standing. All right, so either with furniture or books, you kind of get a feel for what you're needing today. We'll take Prasarita Parsvottanasana. I realize the Sanskrit might not mean anything to you yet, but stick with me, kids, we'll go places. So stand at the front of your mat, both of your books in your hands, and then step your left leg back about 4 feet. Left toes angled slightly forward. Either heels, right heel and left heel aligned, or toe your right foot out to the right for a little bit more balance. Hips are level, so draw that left hip forward, right hip back. And bring the books down to the ground to frame the right foot. This is Parsvottanasana. Some people call it pyramid pose. So now again, line up the right second toe, middle heel, middle knee, and sitting bone. Then from there, reach the right sitting bone diagonally away from the back of the knee. Oh, yep, we're getting into the hamstrings. I made you a promise. For bonus points, roll your left inner thigh behind you and press the left leg back strong. Eject your waist from your hips. Reach your waist forward. Even lengthen the right and left sides of the waist. Breathe in. Breathe out. Bend slightly into your right knee. Step the left foot forward to meet the right. Step the right foot back for the second side. Straighten both of your legs. You're either heel to heel alignment or your left foot steps open to the left slightly for more balance. Because we didn't have a chance to level the hips while standing, we have to do it here in the pose. So draw your right hip forward and your left hip back. Left big toe, or left second toe, center of the heel, middle of the knee, and sitting bone in one line. Reach the left sitting bone diagonally away from the back of the left knee. Roll your inner right thigh back and press the right leg back behind you. Eject your waists from your hips. Lengthen both side waists evenly. Breathe deeply into your left hamstring. Breathe out. Breathe in. Exhale, bend the left knee. Step the right foot forward to meet it. And fold down. Another forward fold. Uttanasana. Straighten both of your legs. I remind you, because I see people doing it, when I can actually see people, when I'm teaching people that I am in the same room with, or can see on video, always people try and go lower than what their body wants to do. So if your legs are straight, you're great going down to the floor. But if not, lift yourself up. There's nothing wrong with lifting yourself up. It's better. It's better to open the hamstrings. The hamstrings really won't open if the knees are bent. All right, I'm off of my soapbox. Let's take a downward facing dog. Bend the knees, plant the hands, and step the feet back, hips high in the sky. Now feet either hips width distance apart or wider, can be as wide as the mat. And just notice the difference in this downward facing dog from the first class. Bend the knees, lift and spread the sitting bones, keep them up high, and then straighten the knees any amount. Maybe your heels suddenly come down to the ground. All right, release the knees down to the ground, wider than the hips, big toes touch, child's pose. Sink your hips back to your heels, bring your forehead to the earth. If your forehead doesn't reach the earth here, grab your books or your towel, place them underneath your forehead so that you can really get your hips down on your heels. Smooth out your breath. And then come to seated up on your heels. We'll move into the seated poses, forward folds. And we've talked about this before. Forward folds can be more advanced than the standing poses because of the mobility they require in the backside of our body. But we're warmed up now and we've got a chair. So we're going to work this together. So let's start not on the chair, but stacked up pretty high. So unfold your towel or unroll and then fold it up so that it will be a seat for underneath your hips. What we're going to do is stack either one block, maybe both blocks if you're very tight, or both of your books, and the towel on top of them. Okay, so we're making a pretty high platform. Then come to sit on that platform. I'm going to turn to the side here. And bring the soles of your feet together and your knees wide. So butterfly. The heels can be as close into the books as you can get them. And we want the knees to be lower than the hips. From the bony front hip point, we want the knees to be lower than that. So if your knee isn't lower than that, then sit up even higher. Find something else to put underneath your butt so that the groins will release. So we are releasing the inner groins to the inner knees. So feel that opening. You might even touch the inner thighs and slide the hands to the inner knees to help coach the body into what we'd like it to do. Bring the hands forward to hold on to the ankles or wherever on the legs you can. Then press the heels together and lift your heart. This is Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. Now notice if your buttocks is rolling underneath you, or if your low back is in a great big arch. What we want is for the pubic bone and sacrum, the front and backs of the pelvis, to be parallel with one another and perpendicular to the floor. So it feels like you're sitting on the front tips of your sitting bones, and you're lifting your heart. Now bring your hands underneath your knees, pull the knees together, and lengthen the legs out long in front of you, hips width distance apart. Flex the toe, or pull the toes back towards the face. Bring the fingertips down towards the ground. If they don't reach, you can hold on to the sides of your props. Roll your inner thighs slightly down towards the ground. And again, line up your second toes, middle knees, and the sitting bones. This is Dandasana staff pose. Descend your thighs down towards the ground, open the backs of the knees. Well, if here your knees aren't straight, if your legs can't straighten here because of tightness in the body, you'll come up to your furniture. If your legs can straighten here, you're fine. Stay where you are. Or if you want to experiment with your furniture, it can feel quite nice too. I forgot to tell you in the beginning of class, but I did put it in the post, that you need a big bolster. This is the back of my couch. If you don't have this right now, it's okay, but if you have one nearby, go grab it. And then come back to your perch, either on your books, or we'll sit on the very edge of your furniture so that your sitting bones are on the furniture, but the muscles of the thighs are off. And you straighten the legs out just as we had them before, hips width distance, toes pulling back towards the face. Now here, place your bolster, firm pillow on top of your legs, regardless of where you're sitting. And then from this hip crease, hinge forward. Come all the way down to bring your hands either on top of the bolster, or maybe you can stack the forearms and bring your forehead down to your large pillow. So if it's hurting your back, or if you've got a bulging disc, osteoporosis, or any pain in your back, stay upright. Keep the back long. For those of you that are folding further forward, imagine the way that blanket felt in the belly and soften the belly here. This is Paschimottanasana, the intense stretch of the west side of the body. And the west side of the body is the back side of the body because the ancient yogis would do their yoga in the morning facing the sunrise in the east. All right, inhale, lengthen the spine if it isn't already, and then sit yourself back up. Now, if you are using the chair, you'll do something slightly different from the folks on the floor. You'll bring your right heel up into the chair and open your right knee to the right. You'll use the bolster again over that left leg, turn towards the left leg and fold down. So again, you can keep that spine straight and long or fold down to the bolster. Now, if you're sitting on the floor, you'll come to the left side of your prop setup. We'll do the left side of the prop setup. Your right leg is straight in front of you. Tuck your left foot behind you. Okay? If this is impossible because of any pain in the knee or tightness in the top of the thigh, you'll do something similar to the folks in the chair. You'll bring your left foot in towards the inner right thigh and let the knee open behind you. If the knee's hovering up into the sky, put something underneath it. So if your leg is behind you, lean over to your right, reach underneath your knee so that you can grab the meat of your calf, and then roll the calf out to the left. So you roll it to the outer leg, and then come back down. Right and left sitting bone, more or less even. The left sitting bone is hanging off of the bows. Place your bolster or thick blanket over your right leg. Inhale. And exhale, hinge forward at the hips and bring yourself down over the bolster. Think about that blanket in the belly and soften the belly to broaden the low back. Breathe. Now here, everybody, regardless of where you are, think about ejecting the waist from the hips, lengthening the side waist, softening the belly, come down a little bit further. All right, come up halfway, lengthen the spine, and then all the way. Now, if you're in the chair, you'll straighten out both legs and then change sides. It'll be your left foot in the chair, left knee open into butterfly. If you're sitting on the floor, lean to your right, bring the left leg out in front of you, and then scoot over to the right side of your prop setup and tuck your right leg behind you. Remember, you can take the half butterfly with the right heel lined with the left side waist. If you're in the chair, go ahead and turn your torso towards your extended leg, bring the bolster on top of it and fold forward. If you're on the floor, lean to your left, reach underneath your knee, grab your calf muscle and pull it out to the right so that you're clearing the space and it's easier to get the bend in the right knee. Then hang the right sitting bone off of your prop setup. Left leg is straight. Bolster on top of that left leg. Inhale. And exhale to hinge forward. Now as we get into it, let's grow that waist, side torso out of the low back. And soften the belly to round down further. Allow the backside body to round. But broaden the upper back and the chest so the breath can move. One more time. Lengthen the side waist out of the hips. Soften the belly and come down a little bit further. Now, if you're in the butterfly legs, there will be more of a rotation in your spine. One side of the back will feel a bit more stretched than the other, and that's normal. They're two different poses. If you've got your foot tucked behind you, your legs are neutral, they're symmetrical. They're basically making the same shape, one is just bent. So it's easier to get an evenness through the right and left sides of your waist. As you inhale, come up halfway, and then all the way. So I'll come back to that Paschimottanasana, which we already took in the chair on your blocks. We're going to do it again and hold it for a bit longer. So you sit centered on your props. And if you often practice Paschimottanasana without any height underneath you, if you prefer, you might remove the props from underneath you. Again, you can stay in the chair. Straighten both of your legs out in front of you, hips width distance apart. And then place the bolster across your legs. Inhale. And as you exhale, hinge at the hips to bring a straight spine forward. Hands resting on top of the bolster, either helping to support your spine in an upright posture, which protects the back. If you have any issues, stay here. Otherwise, next inhale breath, grow your side waists out of your hips. Soften the belly and exhale to round forward. Broaden your upper back. Release your shoulders away from the ears. Broaden across your chest. Bring your head down on something. If you're staying upright, don't. Your head will stay upright. But if you are folding all the way forward, then stack your palms or grab your towel if you need some more height, but bring your forehead down on something. Soften the belly. Breathe. A couple things, because we're holding this for longer than we normally do, a couple of minutes. You can always come out of it if it's feeling like it's too much for you. If you've been experiencing depression or low mood, then lift up your head and look forward so that your head isn't down. Your chin might be resting in your hands. Just stay looking upright. Descend the femur bones down towards the floor. If your forehead is down on something, make it so that the skin of your forehead is moving from the hairline down to the brows. So that wherever your forehead is, you're not lifting the eyebrows up, but they're being drawn down the face. So I do that by placing the hairline down and then moving my chin away from my chest. Just a few more breaths here. Inhale to come up halfway, grow the waist out of the hips, and then bring your shoulders over your hips. So if you're in the chair, you'll come down off of the chair. You might sit back up onto your stack of props, and then bend your knees, place your feet on the floor. Slide your right leg underneath the left to bring the right knee to the very center line of the body. And then step your left leg over the right. If this isn't comfortable for you, you can straighten that right leg. It's fine. Now here, level both sitting bones as best you can on the floor. Inhale to lift your heart. Exhale to twist to your left. Bring your left hand behind you and either hug onto the right knee or tuck your the left knee, or tuck your right elbow on the outer left leg to twist a little bit deeper. Inhale down your spine. Connect to your sitting bones. Exhale from sitting bones out through the crown of your head. Feel your inhale breath moving down the spine. The exhale breath moving back up and out. One more smooth breath in. One more smooth breath out. And then come back to center. Bring your hands behind you, both feet in front of you, and change sides. Left leg underneath the right, knee at the midline. Step your right leg over the left. Level both of your hips as best you can on the floor. Inhale to lengthen the spine, lengthen the waist out of the hips. Exhale to twist to your right, either hugging on to the right leg or bringing your elbow to the outer right thigh. Right fingertips are behind you. And again, we inhale down the spine. Exhale from sitting bone through the crown of the head. This is called Ardha Matsyendrasana, half king of the fishes pose. Breathing smooth. And come back to center. Hands behind you, release your legs. Any low back pain, you'll take your bolster, your big cushy pillow, slide it underneath your knees, and then come to lying down on your back. Roll your shoulders underneath you. Roll your palms face up. And spread your chest as the outer arms release down into the ground. Shavasana, final rest. Tuning back into your breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. Begin to feel how the breath affects your spine. Can you feel a spaciousness in your spine as you inhale? And a slight compression of your spine as you exhale. Which area of your spine is easiest to feel move on the breath? You don't have to answer in words, but just knowledge. Which portions of the spine are difficult to feel? Can you softly pay more attention to these parts of the spine? Not to force anything, but to just see if you can feel the effects of the breath on these areas. Remain there as long as you like. If you'd like a relaxing restorative practice with Reiki and Yoga Nidra, I'm offering that tonight, and Yin on Thursday. Bye.